Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Tyranny. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that I chose to join me today here atop of this huge, monstrous spire. Look at this thing. This thing is enormous, and the loading screen is no less impressive than this. And also the soundtrack. The soundtrack up here is incredibly pretty. It's just this violin right now, and actually that's probably a cello, or it could be just a quartet. But anyway, it's unbelievably pretty. And I was over here just setting up all that we got. We gained basically these gloves over here, momentum gauntlets, and they're pretty good for her, because she gains a multi-strike, which basically means that on weapon crit, I think she does extra damage or something, versus parry. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So, let's talk with everybody, because everybody has something to say about what just happened. Let's go with Lantry, because Lantry, I know for sure that I have talked to him about everything, so let's go ahead and just have a chat.
At least in theory, I'm supposed to be observing history and not getting myself wrapped into it. All the same, this is the thrill of a lifetime. Rarely does one stand so close to monumental moments in the making.
Yeah, indeed, man.
If given the choice between a multifaceted hive mind of treachery and a surly old soldier, General Grumps is the wiser choice. It's patently obvious which Archon is truly loyal to Kairos.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we're not talking about loyalty here, to Kairos at least. We're talking about loyalty to me at the very least, but, yeah.
So, I must ask, are you planning on taking sides in the Civil War? Or do you have other plans?
Well, yeah. For so long as it suits my purposes, I will ally with the Disfavored.
The Archon of War is about as noble as a professional killer can be. And unlike the voices of Narat, he doesn't bring with him a gaggle of rapists and pillagers in his wake. The Disfavored could use your help. They are outnumbered, and I'd say outwitted by the opposition.
Yep.
Outwitted, you say? I'll have you know the Disfavored boast the most capable strategists of Kairos' armies. If we're outwitted, it's because the motives and tactics of our enemies are too brainless for any rational soldier to grasp.
Yeah, well, it's easy for Lantry to criticize the general for being outwitted. How many battles has he led?
Truer words have never been spoken. It's impossible to judge Graven Ash until you've stood in his boots and endured the burden of leadership. Even we, his followers, fall short of comprehending his magnificence.
Look at him. Oh, Barik, how bitter will you be when I inevitably betray your master?
Whatever you do next, consider that many eyes will be upon you. For you have both delivered and taken away the Overlord's edicts, and few will know how to make sense of the latter. You are an exception the Archons cannot afford to ignore. They will likely aim to control or destroy you.
To control me? Yeah, well, hopefully not. I mean, I'm not above... I'm personally not above expecting them to actually be capable of controlling me as a player and as a character, but my character would be arrogant in the face of that, so, let's see. Yeah, let's go with that one. Try to brush that off. Have you heard of edicts being broken before?
Most of Kairos' edicts were either worded to end in a manner of the Overlord's choosing, or the edicts have simply continued in perpetuity. That's not to say there haven't been stories of broken edicts. They're just uncommon. The oldest is, I think, Golbraith and the Edict of Sorrows, and that tale dates back to around the year 110. Aside from you, the most recent was the Edict of Twisting Grasses, back in 380. In all these stories, Kairos' edict very clearly gives its victim a single way to escape, and someone manages it. What's never happened is the pure abatement of an edict, like using a spell of warding or cancellation.
Well, yeah. Which would mean that his edicts are basically the most powerful thing ever. Or at least in practical terms, of course. Have a moment? Let's talk a little bit further. So, what's on your mind? Did you want to discuss matters of the present, or would you prefer a more scholarly rant? Let's discuss current matters.
Of course. How can I help?
So, know anything about the region we're in?
The Spires predate us all. As far as I know, we're the only ones who've been up here since... ever?
Really?
I think this might be a first.
Holy crap.
Perhaps the real Trailblazer had trouble getting down and was lost to history. Of course. How can I help?
Ooh.
The Spires predate... Of course.
Why
How can
doesn't
I
that
help?
go away? What are your thoughts on traveling, on our traveling associates?
Are you asking for an objective assessment? Or is this your way of saying you want to gossip?
No, I can't really answer that question. I would like to, but, Barik, what do you make of him?
He is a proper Northman, with duty in his blood. Which makes me suspect his loyalty to Ash is stronger than his loyalty to you. As long as your interests remain aligned to Graven Ash, this shouldn't be an issue.
I wonder if I'll be able to break his loyalty to Graven Ash, I mean.
I must admit, I am completely fascinated by his predicament. Ever tried diagramming the articulations of his armor? Don't. It'll only lead to madness and ruination.
Hopefully not of his armor, though. Thoughts on verse?
I know little of swordplay, and couldn't work a curve and arrow to save my life. I can't really comment on the lady.
Lady, you're just afraid to talk in front of me, clear as day. Your sweat is easier to read than your ink scribbles.
No, not at all. I just don't know how to comment on a warrior's worth, that's all.
Spare me your blather.
Verse pauses to read Lantry's body language.
Huh. Think that, do you? Didn't know you had such swollen hope for me.
No need to keep secrets, Lantry.
A most fascinating specimen. I think she has great potential. A dangerous amount of potential, to be blunt. The Scarlet Furies are the fighting elite of the Scarlet Chorus, and that means floating to the top of a sea of blood and chum.
Yep.
We should consider ourselves lucky to have her on our side.
Yep.
With her weapons usually pointed away from us.
So I have some questions for you.
I am nothing if not a semi-reliable font of knowledge. What did you want to discuss?
Oh, so apparently I can go on more detail about other things. So they say sages know all sorts of things.
I know everything, except for who's been saying that. What's on your mind?
Well, that was quite a good line right there. And know anything about Bane? About the Bane? A shame Sage Cloven Claws was reduced to a pile of ash, he says. A man knew all that has been written on the subject. Most of what we know is summed up in the name. The full term of them is Mage Bane, and there's no good reason for it. They'll prey on anything that moves, but they'll show favoritism towards magically active humans. Okay, well, I actually don't know why I asked that, but, sure, that's all for now. Let's have a chat with, Verse.
So, the Scarlet Chorus and Disfavored are at each other's throats.
Mm-hmm.
Can't say I didn't see that coming, but the Archons might have waited until one war was over before they started another.
Do you think I made the right decision?
Fighting with the Disfavored. Well, not the call I would have made, but I'm sure you have your reasons. If you like iron weapons or something about that purple uniform excites you, then be my guest. Who can say? War is all about compromising your morals, deciding who lives and dies. What seems like a mistake turns into your greatest call down the road. Let me make one thing clear, just so that there aren't any misunderstandings. You support Graven Ash, and I couldn't care less. I'm here because you've done what none of the Archons could. Not even the voices of Narat would fault me that.
Yeah, I think I read her character pretty well in that. I kind of knew when I asked that. I knew she wouldn't really care for that. I mean, her first line says outright that she doesn't. I mean, it doesn't say outright, but it implies that she doesn't care what happens to the war. She doesn't care about anybody really. She cares about herself, and in that we're like soul twins. So yeah, if I had said the other line, it would be. It would probably had gotten me to tier 4 over there. Unfortunately, we're still a little bit away, but yeah, let's continue.
He's also a complete bastard, and
Oh.
I wouldn't want to miss an opportunity to stab him in the gut and take control of his army. So, there's that.
I hadn't thought of taking control of his army, mostly because it can't be really controlled that easily. I'm pretty sure that he does a fantastic job at that.
I'll say this much. Our time together is anything but dull. My blades are yours for as long as you'll have me.
Hopefully your bow as well. That's kind of more important. Noted. I have a question for you, though.
What do you need?
Ooh, that's an interesting one right there. You learn a thing or two about fighting in the Scarlet Chorus. Care to duel?
That would be an understatement, and I thought you'd never ask. Since you're obviously at a huge disadvantage, I'll let you pick our weapon of choice.
Oh, really? Okay. Let's try dual-wielding knives.
Exotic. Good choice. I'll leave you to guess which one is my dominant hand.
Well, I guess I'll guess after I get stabbed by it. So I gained 5 dual-wield skill, which is pretty good. I should have probably waited for later for that, because, you know, it's harder to gain skill as you level up. Let's see. Verse slashes and parries with unrestrained ferocity. At times it becomes difficult to follow her movements. After taking more than a few cuts, you learn to relax your eyes and better follow the subtle motion of her dance.
You held your own. Call me impressed. Need anything else, or did I tire you out?
Didn't gain any loyalty or fear. Kind of was hoping for some of that. So let's see, to Barik and Verse. Have either of you noticed that you fight particularly well together? Oh, I can get an ability with them too? Oh no, can I? Let's go with that one.
The thought has crossed my mind from time to time. During the many battles of the Conquest, we found ourselves standing back to back with enemies on all sides on more than one occasion.
The big guy here is as useless as an empty scabbard without his phalanx to keep him alive, but I move fast enough to compensate for it. And it's nice having a living wall of rusted iron I can use for cover.
I want you two to train together.
Absolutely not. Our fighting styles are incompatible, and any disfavored lieutenant will tell you not to join at the hip soldiers who can't stomach each other.
I'm inclined to agree. If you want to pair up fighters, there has to be some great passion or magnetism between them. We don't have it.
Okay, if neither of you is up to the challenge, then I won't force it. It's totally fine.
Now see here, Verse's temperament and unpredictable ways are an annoyance, but no challenge is beyond my skill. Verse, we should take some time to face off in the sparring fields. It might even improve our disposition towards one another.
I'd rather watch you devour your armor one shaved off spoonful at a time. But since that isn't going to happen anytime soon, I suppose I'll make an effort.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. We made them work together, and I gained a fear ability for Verse. Okay. Apparently we want fear as well. Arrow Storm unlocked. Barik and Verse. Okay, so this thing, let's see. So I got Fury's Rage for Korra and Verse. Let me pause the game. There it is. So project intense flame towards Verse, which she catches on her blades and spins into an aura of wreathing flames around her. Nearby foes take burn damage from the flame while they last. Okay, that's pretty decent. Excuse me. And we have the Arrow Storm over here. That is Verse and Barik. So what happens is Verse does plus 50% bonus damage per enemy engaged for 3 seconds. Actually, that should be for Barik. Barik does 19 to 24 pierce damage versus dodge and recovery of 4.3 seconds. So Verse fires several arrows into Barik's armor. When the last arrow strikes, Barik roars and the arrows burst out, striking enemies nearby. Oh, okay, so these are... Oh, yeah. Per enemy engaged for Barik. So that's actually very, very good. The thing is, I don't really want that ability on her, so the only way that I've found to erase abilities is to drag an ability that's already on your bar. So you always have to have at least one, because, you know, you can't erase the last one. But do what I did just there. Yeah, that seems simple enough. Also, we have these. I haven't looked at them yet, but that's pretty good. That's pretty good. We need to talk to Barik. So, sir, what do you have? Quicken. That is Korra and Lantry. Lantry heals the Fatebinder and nearby party members with a surge. I didn't notice that. With a surge of restorative energy. The burst of energy is so invigorating that those affected are also hastened for a lasting duration. For how long, actually? For 60 seconds. That's pretty awesome. Okay, so let's just see. He doesn't have any more abilities of those, or these, or these either? No, these are all his abilities. Okay, so you, sir, do you have anything? He does have this, Iron Tolling. That's right there. And I need to bring this over there. And she has this over here, just so I know that it's the mixed abilities. And as for me, what do I have? I have Drain Strength. So this is, what is that? Siphon Might, Finesse, and, well, Finesse, I guess, and resolve from enemies in a cone and challenge it back to you for a brief time. For 20 seconds, it's kind of cool, I guess. Why do I have it, though? Is it an ability? It's a companion ability, but why? Is it? I think it's because I think it's because of the Disfavored or something. What about this one? Favor of the Fatebinder. Grant damage, absorption shield to the target, which can not self. Well, that's a buff. That's okay. That's okay. Put it over there. Did I actually didn't work it right? Ooh, Fury's Rage. I shouldn't have that over there. Yeah, Fury's Rage. That's for her. So everybody stay over here. You, sir, you're gonna get, what is that? Do I have this? Iron Tolling? No, that's because that's for Barik. So I got Furious Rage, that's for Quora. And, these are the ones I actually... Where do I get that one? Ooh. What are these? Reputation abilities. Okay, so that explains it. So Furious Rage shouldn't be there. Let's put that over there, and let's put this over here, and that is that. So that's, all my... Actually, that's my... normal ability, so let's do it like this. I'm sorry, I'm organizing, I did this off camera, but I didn't want to do it off camera because it's new abilities and I now know what this is all about, so let's speak with Barik. Oh, need one ball.
And so civil war divides the armies of mighty Kairos. The reckoning that comes of this failure will be great indeed.
But not for us, hopefully, because Kairos won't know. Tunan won't know. I don't know, they probably will. It's gonna be terrible.
We find ourselves in the darkest times. Brothers and sisters who fought for a similar cause now skewer each other over blighted lands in favor of distant powers.
That's not really what's happening. They weren't brothers and sisters. They didn't love each other. Disfavored and they hated each other already. That's the reason why they're fighting. Well, actually, the reason why they're fighting is because I think the Voices of Nerat wants that. But what would you have done at Vengeance well, Barik?
Backing the Disfavored was the only logical choice. Graven Ash is the only Archon worthy of your confidence. And you were wise to recognize as much. Naturally, I would have done the same. Whatever others might say about what happened in Vendrian's Well, you acted from instinct. I can't help but respect that.
Really? Okay. I have some questions for you before we move on.
What can I do for you?
Oh, I can ask him that as well. That's interesting. Let's see. I can ask him a bunch of stuff, but let's tell me about the Disfavored. We are the Iron Legion, the warrior elite of Kairos' fighting force, he says. I could easily lose count of the hours extolling our glories. What is it you'd like to know? Have you fought in any notable battles? I served in Stalwart for the better part of a year, faced the enemy everywhere from Coral Run to Sentinel Stand. I lost count of the battles. Seems like we fought every other day. A sigh echoes in the cavern of his helm. Some of our best victories took place there, fighting an enemy worthy of our iron, but we were not successful enough to please the Overlord, and the final intervention was harsh on us all. Barik takes in a deep breath, his arms folding as his posture stiffens. Actually, is this gonna tell me why they're called the Disfavored? I had an unusual view of the Edict of Storms. Kairos' judgment left its mark on me, yet considering how we fought a stalwart with the skill and honor of legend, only the Edict is remembered. A shame. What about Graven Ash? Can you tell me about him? Graven Ash is the general of the Disfavored, veteran of centuries of battles, and an Archon without peer. I would follow him to the void and back without question. Barik swings his arms in salute. Ooh, man, if I ever break his dedication to him, then it's gonna be quite a feat. I don't think I will, though. How did he come to serve Kairos? Before the uniting of the Northern Empire, Graven Ash served as a warlord in the service of one of the local kings that defied Kairos' rule. Incredible as it may seem, Ash stood against Kairos' rule. Though his army was dismantled by Kairos' overwhelming numbers, Ash's forces performed admirably. It was said that he and his troops claimed 77 lives for each of their own. Kairos took an interest in the military genius that bloodied his army. Graven Ash was summoned to a conclave of Archons, and though he was sent in chains, he left as an Archon, having been granted a position of power in Kairos' great host of war. Thus the Disfavored were born. All of us today trace our line back to those warriors that impressed Kairos with their will and tenacity. The only difference is now we fight on the winning side. Though the general seldom speaks of it, I know that Ash humbled himself in order to spare his troops the brunt of Kairos' punishment. His loyalty to the old blood of the North is beyond question. So, So Ash bent his knee to a conqueror. I think he's not gonna like that. I'm gonna go with this one. Yeah, he made the right choice to save his troops. I'm gonna suck up a little bit to see if I can bring him up to a little bit more. Oh, didn't do that. And he would have made it again to save any of us, he says. There has never been a more devoted and attentive leader. Barik makes a proud fist and steps on to a salute with a forceful clatter of pots and pans. What else do you know of his past? From what I hear of the story, the Voices of Nerat was the Archon tasked with conquering Graven Ash's homeland. So it was the Voices' disorganized mob that Ash shamed, and the mad Archon who has loathed Graven Ash ever since. I'm sure that Ash and the Voices have numerous reasons to dislike each other, but I've heard several veterans tell it that the Voices' resentment goes back a long time. Well, as an Archon, what magic does he wield? Ash works his magic through us, his soldiers. When we do battle, Ash seems to know the events, even before our runners have given the word. Most importantly, though, he protects us. It's a bit tricky to explain unless you've experienced it. I can think of countless times I've been struck by a spear or hit with an axe and even run through with an arrow, and each one of those moments, the pain and injury just cease to be. None of us know how he does it, or how he can sense that we're in danger and intervene from afar, but I suppose that's why he's an Archon. What he does probably wouldn't make sense to someone like me. How do you feel about Graven Ash, then? How do I feel about him? Archon Ash is the bravest, warmest, most compassionate general who ever lived. He's a living icon of leadership and courage. Barik tilts his head slightly to the side, as far as the suit's limited range of motion permits. Ash is a soldier, but he doesn't kill for sport. A leader, but he doesn't issue commands to hear himself talk. He demands discipline and sober conduct of his troops, and I applaud such standards. Yeah, well, I kind of admire him from the start. And I think if you side with the Scarlet Corps, he's probably gonna just be in the defense of his army. I don't like Barik as a person. I think he's too devoted, too unwavering, I guess. He's chaotic lawful, I guess you put it like that. I think, but I don't like him as a person. I don't think my character would like him too much either. But he's a good guy to have by his side, so he's basically sucking up because he has no qualms about that. He doesn't need to speak his mind, my character, Cora. But me, Colonel RPG here, I don't like Barik too much, but I do like Graven Ash. Graven Ash is a fantastic character. As a person, he's also a fantastic person, but as a character, it's pretty interesting because I'm pretty sure he's got some hidden skeletons in his closet. So, yeah, back to my questions about Disfavored. So, I think that's gonna be that. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I can't.
You can. Shut up. What the hell is wrong with this guy all saying you can't? Anyway, we had things to do. I think we need to talk to Iranians over there. But we have this spire over here that we got last episode. We have over there to the west, you see the shining spire of Lethian's Crossing. And we also have loot. Oh, thank you very much. Let's put that over there. All of that goes over there. What was that other one? That's a healing potion. So this is a small. Okay. Well, Paradox was kind enough to send me because, well, not because I'm me, but because I got what's the word? This thing. Nah, it doesn't appear over here. It's in the main menu. You saw that. Yeah, they sent me a previous episode. They sent me a greater healing potion because of the daily login, and they keep doing that. Earlier today, I think they sent me. The last episode, actually, they sent me something else. It's just, they keep sending that stuff. It's kind of weird, but I hope it doesn't break the game or make it too easy. Especially for me, because I'm playing, like, on average, I'm playing an episode a day, because I'm releasing an episode a day. So, it's gonna be a lot of good things coming my way. This fire pit burns with embers that give off an ethereal glow. Looking into the flame, you feel you can see glimpses of distorted faces. To the east, you can see deep ashen clouds surrounding the burning library. Oh, it's to the east? Well, yeah, whatever. Let's go over here and see what this is all about. Although, there it is. On closer inspection, a series of symbols carved around the base of the structure come into view. One symbol pulses with a blue-white glow. The pattern resembles the glowing lines of light seen on the floor of Ascension Hall moments before you found yourself transported above the clouds. So this is the teleporting device, I guess. As you stare at the symbol, the chill of the wind abates and your chest swells with warmth. The air finally feels welcoming, your lungs sated at last. I'd be careful going any closer, says Lantry. This wall tower is humming with energies that we don't understand. He holds his quill poised above a sheet of parchment with anticipation. Now, I didn't say back away. Let's find out what it does. Just be cautious. You staked your claim on the tower and everything in it. Whatever that sculpture is, it belongs to you, says Verse. I feel dizzy, says Barik. Do you feel dizzy? Barik massages the brow of his helmet, causing a howl of grinding iron to echo across the expanse. What is this thing? The surface of the stone orb trembles at your words. For a brief moment, the solid rock undulates in the same motion as a quiet pond rippled by rain. An echo bounces back from afar, your voice distorted and unfamiliar. Is this thing? That's the echo right there. The sculpture is once again still. There is a rush warmth through your body, a jolt of enervation that steadies your balance. A barrage of tactile sensation floods your mind as you feel footsteps and wind, but not on your face or your limbs. A moment later, the flood of information begins to make sense. You are feeling the wind against the spire, and even the weight of your own feet, as if the spire were a second spine. With this connection made, you feel your awareness pull from this place, not as a traveler, but as one glimpsing the world from impossibly far away. In this moment, there is nothing you cannot see, though you see it nearly all at once in a flood of sensations that is difficult to parse. You see a spire at the crossing of an ancient stone structure, two walls extending off into the distance. At the base of this eternal spire, settlers and merchants act in every way unconcerned, toiling under the observation of unforgiving taskmasters. As the shadow of the spire falls over them, the mood changes. The settlers pause in shared unease and look up at the sky, towards you. Some of the faces looking at you are familiar, and you recognize this place as Lathian's Crossing, where you served during the war. Near this settlement, built at the joining of the ancient walls, you see a breach in the massive masonry, a cleft into the forbidden, hidden realm within the old walls. Oh man, what is this? Aren't we in Lathian's Crossing? Built into the shadow of the old walls junction? No, this is a different thing. This is the other one. Oh, they had the names. The guard, Lathian's guard. Yeah, that's the one, but that's not what it is. So built into the shadow of the old walls junction in the realms of Haven, Lathian's Crossing is a growing trade. Oh, I remember. This is the first choice that we had. That's right. Yeah, you guys remember that? So we got, man, this is bringing me back to I don't know who wrote this. I'm pretty sure it wasn't Chris Avallone, but this is bringing me back to the Grieving Mother. I think. Yep, that was the Grieving Mother. Yeah, that was the name of the NPC that Chris Avallone and also Fennerbacker. I don't remember his name, but there were two people responsible for writing her in Pillars of Eternity, and the writing style is very similar to that. I love it. It's amazing. Anyway, we're out of time for the day, so we're gonna drift closer to the Spire or drift into the old wall entrance on the next episode. For now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Tyranny. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video, but above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.